Greetings everyone! My name is Visuasath and I welcome you to my new video in the series Game Analysis. Today we're tackling the first entry of numerous videos covering all the footage shown at Square Enix's press conference at E3 2019 and a few additional scenes from the Symphonic reunion trailer shown at the concert 2 days prior. In my last channel content update video, I included a poll to learn what type of content you'd like to see me cover first. And here are the results. Scene and location analysis won in a landslide, though combat analysis isn't that far behind. With that in mind, I decided to start off with the first scene and location analysis videos, which will cover the intro and the bombing mission. Then I plan to interject a general combat analysis before rounding up the first batch of analysis videos with the second scene and location analysis, covering the E3 trailer content starting from the scene just outside of the reactor. Sound fair? Let me know in the comment section down below if that's to your liking. As always, while almost all the findings stem from my own analysis, other analyses helped me refining my own, for which I am very grateful. Special thanks again to the awesome folks at thelivestream.net. Link is in the description down below. But enough beating around the bush. Let's dive right into the beautiful world of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. In this special camera pan from the gameplay demonstration, we see exactly how it looks like behind Cloud after his arrival, an area we haven't seen in the original. There are numerous utilities stored here, like steel bars, blockades, boxes, gas canisters and pylons. We also get a better look at the train cars and see the horizontal struts from below. The next scene is a longer version of the very first encounter in the game, seen in the State of Play trailer. And there's even more stuff lying around, such as containers, more pylons, a ladder, portable warning signs, barrels and a whole new fenced-off corner. So much more details compared to the State of Play trailer, and the building facade looks also different. The Buster Sword does not clip into Cloud's shoulder anymore, and the animation itself looks a lot smoother. Cloud's equipped materia glows much stronger now and is slotted into the upper slot instead of the lower one. Thanks to the lack of motion blur, we now have a better view on the area in the back. The black and yellow striped cross introduced in the PSX 2015 trailer is still sitting above the red signal light, and we can now see the whole side path including the closed gate above, from which Barrett returns to the group. Due to the better camera angle, we now see two more spotlights on the station building, of which we could barely see the light cones on the building's facade in the State of Play trailer. Also, the light illuminating the side of the station building flickers a little before the battle starts, showing how well everything works around here. The platform has been redesigned for the upteenth time. The border stripes look like a mixture between the original and the PSX 2015 trailer, there's a new white line on the left, and the floor texture has changed yet again. Barrett can be seen running into the train building like in the original. However, the game seems to be waiting for battle components to finish loading. Not a bad way of masking loading times, but still noticeable. Still, the battle starts transitionless right there on the field, as predicted. There's one little nitpick I have to point out though. The left security officer's shadow doesn't connect with his feet, making him look as if he's floating above ground. In this next scene, we get a nice view inside of the station building from the entrance archway. Everything looks the same as in the State of Play footage. Turnstiles, bricks and the closed shutters, with one exception. There are now two Benora White ads with the purple apple and the teen girl, with the slogan "Delicious, Fresh, Healthy." And on the other side, there's this Air music ad again, though this one has an additional piano keyboard attached vertically on the side. Thanks to the different camera angle, ShinRa's care for their properties are on display again. The outer passage lanes keep unpaying customers out with a flap door instead of turnstiles. Could those be first-class lanes? Season ticket holders can walk by the ticket office as seen by that small gap. We can also already see the stairs leading up to the second floor. The assumption I made in the State of Play trailer analysis about the orientation of this area was wrong. Barrett runs towards the turnstiles from the right hallway and not from the entrance as I first thought. Maximilian Dude provided us with a detailed description of how this part goes down. Avalanche sneaks in while Cloud deals with the guards outside. During that, they hide on both sides of the turnstiles by the posters, Barrett and Biggs to the right, and Jesse and Wedge to the left. When Cloud enters the building, they whistle to draw the guards' attention, who then notice Cloud and charge at him. During that distraction, Avalanche heads inside as seen in the State of Play trailer. Jesse's line makes so much more sense now. In English, she says, "Have fun," and in Japanese, "Gokurou-sama," which can be translated to "good work" or "thank you for your hard work." While Cloud is taking out the security officers here, the Avalanche gang just watches from a safe distance as seen in this frame here. We have Barrett, Jesse, Wedge and Biggs taking cover behind that pillar. Kind of. Similar things happen further in, and Cloud has to deal with all the guards until he meets them again in front of the security door. In the next shot for showcasing Cloud's blocking stance, the entrance archway is finally fully visible. The locomotive can also be seen from here. Here we're past the ticket checkpoint and have the same view as in the State of Play trailer. We finally get a sharp view on the departure information table in the back left, though we'll save that for a bit later. There are nice black and white marble lanes on the floor leading to the stairs with a circular connector in the middle of the room, a subtle but effective way marker. Another nitpick I just can't ignore. The hand grenade disappears for 2 frames before it explodes. The explosion effect looks very nice, however. In this next shot, we see a service door in that alcove over there. I first thought of toilets, but there are no toilet signs around. In this demonstration exclusive shot, we get a great view on the Midgar railway route map and train departure table as well as the ticket machines, of which one seems to be out of order. This corner is located behind the left wall when looking from the entrance and close to where Avalanche was hiding earlier. The door and the window with the closed shutters also give it away. Now it's time to bring the departure information table into the mix, which has an additional MI03 line without a terminus, departing at 1:55 AM. It's interesting that this one isn't listed on the train departures table in contrast to the 1:13 and 1:35 AM time slots. In the last video, we established that Avalanche arrives at 9 PM at this station and that this departure information screen hints towards an operation break of around 4 hours. According to the train departures table here, such an operation break usually doesn't occur as every hour from 5 AM onwards contains 5 departures. One commenter on the last video suggested that this unusual operation break might be a scheduled maintenance window which Avalanche exploits to get in more easily and to keep civilians out of harm's way. In any case, since we now have a readable version of the railway map, those departure entries make a little more sense. The red express line goes from Sector 1 to Sector 5, though this specific 1:33 AM train seems to only ride to Sector 8, the very next station, hence the O2 in the line designation. The green local line seems to run from somewhere outside of Midgar, possibly Calm, to Sector 1, then all the way around Midgar to Sector 2. The other view on this map suggests this to be the ultimate terminus. Due to its line designation containing a 12, I think there are a few more stops between Sectors 1 and 5 than we see on the railway map, where only the major ones are included. That's the distinction between express and local. Express trains only stop at major stations while local trains stop at each and every one. Between Sectors 8 and 7, the green line becomes dotted up until Sector 5. Since those would be too many stops in between, I think that segment indicates a line below the plate. This makes sense since I theorize that it's this line Avalanche uses to get back to Sector 7 and then again for their ride to reactor number 5. This means they are probably catching the 1:35 AM train to get back to Sector 7, which might run by that train track trench in Sector 8 at around 1:45 or even 1:50 AM. On their second mission to the reactor number 5, they never reach the plate before having to jump off. So I find it strange that they jump off in Sector 4, which isn't even on the way. That's probably another thing they'll change up and relocate their track through the plate to either Sector 6 or Sector 5. The new yellow line's designation could stand for Midgar. This makes sense since it looks like to be a loop line, connecting even Sectors 1 and 2 with a short detour to possibly the ShinRa building from Sector 5. KL could then be standing for Calm. The express line does ride along the same stations as the green line after all, and it's probably the fast alternative between Sectors 1 and 5, hence the same line designation. There's even another turquoise line running from the supposed ShinRa building to Sector 2 and beyond. Since the green line only travels to Calm from Sector 1, I think this is the quicker secondary line leading to Calm when starting from the ShinRa building or Sector 4 and below. There's also a grey line starting from Sector 2, passing through Sector 1 and then continuing to somewhere else. Maybe Junon? But here's where I'll stop obsessing over train schedules and railway maps and instead point out the awesome announcement speaker on top of the departure table. Okay, that's lame. Let's instead have a look at those ads over there. ShinRa, merging innovation with creation. Sounds like Hojo's experiments. The other one is a ShinRa construction ad with an alternate logo. Below that seems to be a water ad of Clear Icicle. Is this a reference to Icicle Inn? The last one looks like an alternate version of ShinRa construction, a blend between the above two. Over there, we see the ticket vending machine corner again. Short side note, the whole circling camera movement contains 3 different scenes. The one inside the station we already looked at, a room within the reactor but before the elevator, and the train station again, though from another recording session as seen by Cloud's different stats. Here we get a view from a different angle inside the train station. Cloud stands right below the stairs, we see some lockers on the left, and the location of the ticket machines in relation to the turnstiles is now better visible. That's about it for the first floor. In this short scene, we see Cloud running towards the security door after having left the train station building from the second floor. This is where the original game continues after entering the station building. From the little we can see, it looks rather faithful. There's an exit archway with 2 similar lamps on each side, and lamp posts with a different design than the original and even the PSX 2015 trailer. In the back, we can already see destructible ShinRa boxes. The exit consists of 2 archways now, making it easier to exit and enter during rush hours. We can barely see inside, though we can still make out a ShinRa logo on the wall, departure information table hanging from the ceiling, and the ad above the bench, which looks very similar to the 4th one from the E3 show floor, the one with the military dog. Alright, that's it for the North Edge station building. Moving on to the reactor premises. In the gameplay demonstration, there is a very short clip that's most likely directly taken from the game. This looks to be the very same gate Barrett comes walking from in the PSX 2015 trailer and in the original. The gate bears a finer meshed grate and the area behind seems to have changed a bit as well. It looks more open, doesn't have as much lying around and is better lit than the PSX 2015 version. The next shot looks very familiar. It's almost identical to the original scene, albeit with a slightly different angle. So the kanji symbol on the reactor is cut off at the exact same spot. Very nice! While the cooling tower still feels familiar, it does look way more detailed, realistic, much more menacing, and thanks to the additional details and lights, we get a sense of scale that wasn't really there before. Like the train station platform, this scene here has also undergone some changes between the E3 trailer and the gameplay demonstration. While the scene is mostly the same, the crane and scaffolding between the wall and the reactor changed positions. Nothing major, but still worth pointing out. As established earlier, the gameplay demonstration footage is the newer one. This means we now have a better view on the reactor, which was probably the reason for this change. And over there, we already see our next destination, the door through the plate wall seemingly leading to the T-junction between the plates. However, when taking a better look at the pan across Midgar, we see that the T-junction is situated much lower than we currently are. This leads me to believe that we'll have to make our way through some interior area, containing a couple of stairs to reach the lower level where the T-junction is located. Another change can be seen right here, at the plate wall. While those constructions close to the security door from the original render were still present in the PSX 2015 trailer, they seem to be completely gone now. I think they removed them entirely since those things don't really make any sense at all, even in the original, which contained numerous random gadgets and buildings to support the industrial look and add details. And lastly, there looks to be a flight of stairs leading downwards to another area, but we'll come to that a bit later. Next, we get our first look at President ShinRa's office. This scene happens right after the previous one, according to Maximilian Dude, who managed to attend a demo behind closed doors where they showed the whole bombing run. Thanks a million, Dude, for providing us with a very detailed picture of this beautiful game. Anyway, they are very well aware of Avalanche's shenanigans and observe them via security monitors. In this shot, we get a brief glimpse into the office proper. It looks very similar to that artwork shown at the Farewell Stories exhibition in February 2017 and again at E3 2019. Especially the lamps, the pillars, how they converge with the ceiling, and the plant. For an in-depth analysis of that artwork, please go watch Game Analysis episode 4 after finishing this one. Unfortunately, most of the office is covered by this stone sculpture standing behind the president's desk, the one we saw in the artwork. And at this angle, we can see the arm of President ShinRa's throne. In the next shot, we can see the stone sculpture from the front, which looks way smaller than in the artwork, and a little bit of the window divider beams. The rest is either too blurry or covered by those pesky figures, which we'll cover in another video. And we're back in Midgar in Sector 1. Here, we get our first view on a treasure chest, but that's for another video, so let's leave it at that. While the scene with Cloud defeating the guard dog technically comes first chronologically, let's start with this shot located close by. Please take note of the background and that little spool-like thing to the right. In the very next scene during the tactical mode pan, we see the same background and spool-like device, including the cargo lift platform, and some Mako energy storage canisters, but those are of no interest here. After the camera adjustment for selecting the enemy, we get a glance of the outside area, which looks to be the exact same as the one where Cloud slays the guard dog. The wall, the door light, the fence, and especially the floor pipe give it away. And according to the appearing compass line above, we're closing in on our current destination, which looks to be located to the northwest. When checking out the original render, I suppose that little side path with the chest is around here between the pump and the container-like futuristic hut with the cross-shaped clock tower behind, which we already caught a glimpse of earlier. This means that the door to the right in the remake seems to be the very same door from the original render. If the doorway in the plate wall is our next objective, the compass direction looks very accurate. The area where Cloud slices up the security officer by using Braver would then be located to the right, where the path takes an L-turn towards the intruder panel in the original render. Another hint towards that is the horizontal strut with the spotlight above and behind Cloud, of which there are many along the train track, which is also located behind Cloud. That cargo lift platform might lead to an optional area, most likely to the one behind the closed door which Barrett was standing in front of. This is further evidence that this whole area with the guard dog and the cargo lift is located on the lower level, accessible through the stairs seen in the shot with Cloud and the reactor. To cement this even further, the fence seen here to the left during the guard dog fight seems to be the same as the one visible further back in the shot with Cloud and the reactor. And last but not least, we in fact do see the flight of stairs and the big pipe from this perspective as well, connecting those different angles perfectly with each other. This also confirms my earlier sentiment that the level designers got rid of those random constructions to streamline the level and turn it into a real-looking place that feels less random. The art gallery at E3 contains two artworks proving my assessment. The first one, Reactor Exterior 1, shows the stairs down to the guard dog area as well as the clock tower building, and the one containing the cargo lift platform as seen in the next artwork, Reactor Exterior 2. However, it seems we do need to take that lift up to that side path leading north through the intruder alert area, which is most likely the same as in the Magic 2017 screenshot. Finally, we'll then arrive at this next area where Cloud uses a potion, which is most likely located closer to the doorway in the plate wall. Indicators for that are those two cylindrical silos as well as the barely visible building and the rods in the background. The latter indicates we're looking straight into Sector 1. This is even accentuated by those two silos which also exist in the original render. The roof above would then be part of the area with the intruder sign. Furthermore, we can even see the plate border to the left and behind the silos, further corroborating my theory. This means that the entrance through the plate wall, our next destination, lies behind us in this scene. To summarize, Cloud looks up to the reactor tower, then hops down the stairs, kills the guard dog and continues to the right to enter the area with the cargo lift to exterminate the security officer. Using the lift to get to that upper walkway, he then continues northward past the clock tower, possibly through the area in the Magic 2017 screenshot, disposes of the guard there, and exits the area to the west and appears on top of the ramp in the area with the silos. After heading down, Cloud obliterates the enemies there and then finally heads west towards the doorway in the plate wall. Seeing how everything connects, I second the sentiment of E3 visitors that, while they changed many details, the overall level layout still feels the same and still contains many noticeable landmarks. The following few scenes and shots all take place within the same room, which I believe is the one between the reactor entrance and the elevator where Biggs and Jesse need to hack and open both doors before the room with the elevator becomes accessible. It contains two doors, one on the same level and one up the ramp. Furthermore, there are numerous maintenance items, boxes and other stuff stashed along the walls. It looks like there's an office space to the right, and the back wall looks to be a doorway to possibly a warehouse, which is currently closed off by shutters, as are the windows of that office. Each door possesses 3 screen panels, one of which containing that circle graphic and another the ShinRa logo. They look like interfaces for access to the respective door. Might be an overhauled version of the terminal design shown at the E3 art gallery. All those indicators connect those 3 scenes. The tactical mode pan presents the whole room to us. Cloud's Punisher mode combo starts close to the pallet stack corner next to the office space and ends with a view on the door above the ramp where we can already see in the room with the elevator. The cross-slash scene also gives us a view on the wall with the shutters and the office space. Cloud is still on his own here, which leads me to believe that Barret doesn't join the party until after the elevator scene. Maximilian Dude's report from the demo behind closed doors does corroborate this sentiment. The first battle and tutorial involving Barret and out-of-range enemies happened after the elevator scene where the Sentinel Ray enemies first appear. Speaking of, here we are. Barret prepares for battle. The next series of battle scenes all happen within the huge room containing the Mako Filtration unit. We start on the top floor, kill some sentry rays and monodrives, then pass through the middle floor with the support pillar fighting a shock trooper, and finally face off against a sweeper before we can enter the reactor core hall. To make things easier, let me map out the rough layout before we get into the details. We don't see the entrance anywhere, but thanks to this artwork from the E3 gallery, we learn that the entrance is now located in the corner behind the filtration unit instead of the left wall. Like the entrance, the ground floor layout has also changed a little. There's now a small sweeper hangar on the right side, and so is the door to the reactor core hall. Let me explain. When walking into the reactor, traversing the interior and then entering the elevator, we're always heading north, provided the entrance has still a similar layout. We then enter this room from the elevator facing south. So we need to exit this room to the north again instead of west, like in the original, for the orientation and location of the reactor core to make sense. As we'll see later in this video, the entrance to the reactor core hall lies opposite to the reactor core engine, having the latter located pretty much in the center of the reactor tower. Having that established, let's go through the footage while I point out orientation and connecting objects starting at the top. In this shot, we're looking at the corner in the bottom left. Take note of the huge pipes, the elevated platform, and the opening in the fence, as well as the structure of the wall to the right. The next shot with Cloud pans across the filtration unit, starting by facing the upper left corner, where the entrance is located. At the end, we already see the same wall structure. Also take note of the barely visible stairs attached to a walkway leading to the entrance behind the filtration unit, as well as the steel pipes and the top of that heap covered by a blue tarp. In this shot, we see the area along the west wall between the elevated platform and the filtration unit. It looks like the passage behind the filtration unit is blocked, forcing us to walk around it instead, unlike in the original. When we switch over to Barret, we get a better sense of the orientation, especially with the stairs, steel pipes and the blue tarp as references. And there's something funny I noticed. See how Cloud is pushing that mobile blockade in front of him while walking? I wonder what he's up to. And here we're looking at the north wall from the corner on the top floor. Details to take note of are the scaffolding, the fine mesh cloth hanging from said scaffolding, the wooden walkways, the orange glowing wires on the fence and the ladder. We also get another view on the stairs, the steel pipes and the blue tarp. A little side note, we now know what those black and yellow iron bars are for. Now it gets a little more interesting. We see the border of this top floor to the east, and there's much more scaffolding in the northwest corner. While Cloud attacks mid-air, we see several objects from before again. The stairs, the steel pipes, the blue tarp, the ladder, the orange glowing wire around the fence and the platform where the sentry ray, Barret's previous target, was standing on. We also see that the scaffolding on the corner doesn't go below the top floor level. This is important for later. It doesn't seem we're able to climb that scaffolding, as everything is walled off with random crap. Next up, we see Barret use his limit break during their escape back outside. I included it here because this takes place in the exact same area. Only 8 minutes left, hurry up guys! Notice the stairs, the walkway leading to the back, the steel pipes and the blue tarp. We also see the filtration unit and a new Sentinel ray on top of the platforms. When checking the walkways along the scaffolding, we see a ladder leading further up to the upper walkways. I don't think we're able to get up there though. It seems that it's just additional level design flavor. Just before the explosion from Barret's limit break starts, we get another good view on the pipes in the south of this room. Notice how there's smoke everywhere and one of them even leaks steam. This thing's gonna blow soon! And that's it for the top floor. The next short scene takes place in the middle floor with the support beam also seen in the original render. Since this takes place earlier during the escape, the guys have more time to spare. We now have 4 screens from the escape already. 1907, 1750, 1321 and 808. That support beam seems to be under maintenance, and after Cloud's dodge roll, we see several ShinRa logo plates scattered over the ground. Those are probably busted ShinRa boxes which we've already seen outside of the train station. According to reports from E3, Cloud can swing his sword outside of battle by pressing square and break things doing that. Anyway, let's move on to the ground floor. Let's start with the official screenshot. According to the UI, we're still in exploration mode and the sweeper over there is guarding the door to the reactor core hall. In this frame from the Symphonic reunion trailer, we see the door to the reactor core hall and above, there's the same green tarp on the wall which is also visible from this shot from the same trailer. It's barely visible through the fence, but it's there. Also, the filtration unit tower doesn't go all the way to the back wall. There's more wall, if you will, between the tower and the back wall with the door. And from below, we can also see the corner from the middle floor. During the scene where Cloud is using his cross-slash limit break against the sweeper, we get a nice look at one of the sweeper's parking spaces. There are hooks to lift it up for maintenance purposes, a control panel to control said hooks, and possibly retractable pillars holding a chain blockade in place. During the last hit of cross-slash, the whole pile of boxes explodes, sending them flying everywhere. When Barrett casts Thunder on the sweeper, and shortly thereafter Cure on Cloud, we see the other end of this hallway. Take note of the spotlights illuminating the cloth wrinkles and the orange lit wall panels. We can also see that the last sweeper parking spot to the right is empty and the only one with a bright light bar at the top compared to the unlit red one on the others. The lights on the chain pillar are also lit up, suggesting the sweeper being parked there has been activated. In this shot, we get another look at the opposite wall of this hallway. We see that the corner of the filtration unit tower is located to the right here and there's only a wall to the left. This is proof that the door to the reactor core now leads to the north instead of the west. And here we have a good view on the empty sweeper parking spot where our current enemy originally came from. In this next scene where Cloud defeats the sweeper, we get a better view on the upper area. There's more of the green cloth and we now see the array of lights also seen in the scene with Cloud fighting in mid-air. We also get a better view on that small wall segment between the back wall with the door and the filtration unit tower. Additionally, we see two stories here, with the upper one probably representing the middle floor containing the support pillar and the lower one probably being inaccessible. And here we see some sort of car lift, probably also used for sweeper maintenance purposes. There's one between each parking spot. In this last shot with Cloud and Barrett, we get another look at the wall opposite to the door with the green cloth illuminated from the back. If we could tilt up the camera, we would see the area with the huge pipes. Before we move on to the reactor core, let's compare this area to the one from the State of Play trailer with the cutter machine in reactor number 5. The wall texture in here looks very much the same as in the cutter machine clip, just brown instead of a bluish grey. Just like in the original, to easily distinguish those two reactor interiors despite their similar architecture. Also, the door sits in the same spot in reactor number 5, and the stairs are probably also located on the other side in reactor number 1, just as they are here. Anyway, that's it for this area. Reactor core, here we come! For the rest of this analysis, we won't just go through each scene. That would devolve into an unorganized mess. Instead, we'll go through specific scenes and subjects to avoid meandering our way through. First up, we'll take a closer look at the reactor core engine. We get an imposing view on it from multiple angles. The best ones are the frontal one viewed from the ground floor and the one in the last frame of the Scorpion Sentinel's first-person perspective. In the latter, we can even make out some cooling rods underneath the ground platform and the canal leading into the engine. Compared to the original, which looks more like a boiler cylinder, the remake's rendition has a strong monster truck engine vibe. It possesses more pipes and elements than the original, and it generally feels more epic and menacing, mostly due to the increased size and it being built into the wall instead of being a standalone contraption. It also sports those additional lights, the 3 vertical ones laid out in a triangle, with that big cylindrical one near the center, probably the main health or performance indicator. And of course, there's a golden ShinRa logo plate above. This whole contraption truly feels like a crucial part of a machine that is mercilessly sucking a planet dry. Though the pressure control element feels too small for such a massive machine with having only one valve. At least it now contains additional pressure meters, buttons and sliders. We also have a better view on the bomb placement we established in the State of Play trailer analysis. That's about all I can say about the reactor core engine. Now we'll compare the Scorpion Sentinel's introduction scene from the PSX 2015 trailer to the E3 2019 version. One crucial change is how Barrett reacts. While the PSX 2015 version had him methodically preparing and searching for a threat, he's now directly threatening Cloud, thinking he got double-crossed by that ex-soldier. It's only after the Scorpion Sentinel enters the scene and Barret recognizes the real threat that he comes to his senses and pulls the gun away from Cloud, as seen here after the Scorpion's landing. Similar to the Aerith introduction scene, the remake turns this dry scene into one full of character building. And according to Maximilian Dude, this treatment has been done to every single scene and then some. As for the Scorpion Sentinel, it now uses the additional central walkway as a second jump-off point to get to our heroes, instead of just jumping off the wall in a single jump. However, its landing shows way more impact and floor destruction in the PSX 2015 trailer than here. I also found an inconsistency in the order of shots during this scene. The Scorpion's first-person perspective should be shown after the shot in which it's running along the wall. Yes, that's the wall and not a walkway, as we can see in this very last frame. We can make out the ceiling, pipes running along it, the horizontal lights and even several platforms in the back. We can also see the entrance where the ladder leads to the platform below, which seems to be the same ladder appearing next to the Scorpion when it first appears. It has the same broken light and the darker square below made of metal instead of concrete. This means that the Scorpion runs up the back wall and over to the right side just below the ceiling, from where it jumps over to the left side to use that wall to jump down onto the left part of the central walkway to then jump down in front of our heroes. Anyway, the Scorpion's entrance looks generally the same with the exception of additional jumps and the intermediate landing on the central walkway. The biggest difference between both trailers are the walls behind both opposing platforms, the one with the ladder and the one with the reactor engine. The remake looks way more faithful in every way except for the distance to the Mako Basin surface level. After the Scorpion's landing animation and threatening performance, the battle starts immediately without any sort of transition. Most of you probably already know that this boss battle has several phases, but let's quickly check them out anyway. However, we're only going to look at the scene themselves. How those phases affect combat is a topic for another video. When transitioning to phase 2, the Scorpion jumps onto the wall to the right and from there hops over to the other side. During that, we get another nice view on this whole area and the reactor core engine. When transitioning to phase 3, the Scorpion jumps back to the same wall on the right. We see how the Scorpion's leg talons burrow into the concrete. From there, it launches its own version of Matter Magic and breaks the ceiling in the process, as seen by the falling debris during its jump back to the platform in front of the reactor core engine. When transitioning to phase 4, the Scorpion goes haywire, shooting missiles and bullets in all directions. Doing that, it causes even more destruction all around and we see several impacts from its missiles on the walls. Speaking of destruction, during the course of this battle, the destruction grows worse over time. During phases 1 and 2, everything is still hunky-dory and the color scheme is still Mako green. But at the start of phase 3, things start to change. It starts off with a crumbling ceiling, sending several metal beam debris into the battlefield and busting the railings all around. Also, the ventilation propeller to the right of the core reactor engine catches fire and stops rotating. All within a single frame without anything hitting that area. Oh well, nothing anybody but me would notice anyway. And before the second tail laser attack, something happens between cuts, which destroys the left side of the reactor core engine as well, including the ventilation propeller, turning the whole area into a deep orange and red hue. Phase 4 turns even more elements and areas of this hall into flames. In a sense, the state of the reactor core reflects the state of the Scorpion Sentinel, which gets busted up more and more with each phase. After Cloud's finishing blow with his cross/limit break, the Scorpion tries to get up again, but his busted front legs are failing hard. Interestingly, the other 4 legs seem untouched. 7 targets would have been too much for the first boss, I guess. In a last-ditch effort, the Scorpion unloads its final tail laser attack, but has lost control completely. The laser draws a random line of destruction all around this hall and busts up the reactor engine along with several platforms and walkways above. This is probably the moment in which Jessie gets her leg stuck. Yes, Jessie is also somewhere in this hall and I'll show you where shortly. Additional falling debris blocks off the bomb, which magically starts the countdown. Some minor debris probably fell onto the start button. Still, that part of the scene feels weird. After its hissy fit, the Scorpion slips and falls into the Mako Basin and explodes. However, an explosion within liquid should only produce a fountain of said liquid, not a normal explosion mushroom. That's not how explosions in liquids work. Unless Mako is highly flammable, although the explosion would then be much more massive. Ah well, it's a fantasy setting after all, let's not lose our minds over it. Now, before we get to the juicy part, let's go over some details me and others have found in this room. During the first-person scene of the Scorpion Sentinel, we see two monodrive enemies loitering about on the central walkway. I suppose the player rushed past them, avoiding conflict. Next, there are numerous busted lights all around this place, more evidence of ShinRa's carelessness over their properties. I don't feel like pointing out every single one, so I'll just have my loyal companions, the arrows and circles, do the job for me. There are too many to count anyway, so let's just keep moving to the next point. The ground floor in front of the reactor engine has changed several times, so let's quickly compare the different versions. The original version consists of a simple concrete floor with a double beam railing and a different texture along the center and through the walkway. The PSX 2015 trailer kept the railings, but changed the floor to a simple see-through grate with some reinforced struts underneath. Then the Magic 2017 version spiced things up by combining solid plates and grates forming different patterns all around. To stay true to the original, a central walkway designation in form of yellow stripes returned. However, this version is the only one sporting solid steel plates instead of the double beam railing the other renditions have. The latest version is a blend between the PSX 2015 and the Magic 2017 variations. Solid plating forms the central walkway segment designated by yellow-black striped lines and additional red light stripes, beautifully in line with the Magic 2017 version and the original. The rest of the platform looks almost identical to the PSX 2015 version. However, there's this additional circle in the middle through which we can see the cooling rods beneath. Okay, I think that's enough obsessing over ultimately meaningless floor textures. Let's move on. One really nice detail I found while analyzing this battle are the constant Mako sprinkles flying around above the surface. They appear in many different scenes, so naming them all makes no sense whatsoever. I mentioned Jesse's presence earlier, and as promised, I'll show you where. Jesse is watching this whole fight from above. During the transition to phase 2, where the Scorpion switches sides, we can see Jessie crouching down in the corner of that upper platform where the ladder leads down to the central walkway. She's hard to see and recognize, but when looking closely, we can make out her ponytail and armor. No wonder she gets her leg stuck, being this close to the battle and the destruction it entails. Alright, we've now reached the last segment of this analysis, and I've saved the most interesting part for last. This took me a while to figure out, but I think I managed to map out this whole room with all the walkways and ladders. First, let me show you a few reference points to make it easier to navigate. This room is represented by an octagonal shape with 4 long and 4 short sides. I call the short sides corners. The walls are made of squares, each representing 1 level vertically. There are 12 levels total between the Mako basin and the ceiling. Levels 5, 8 and 11 contain horizontal double array lamps with 3 segments each, while the corner parts only have them on level 11. The edges of the corners in this octagonal room structure bear vertical single array lamps on levels 2 and 5. Now, let me show you the way from the ground floor all the way up to the exit. From the ground floor on level 1 close to the back wall, which also has a doorway in the middle, we're climbing the ladder to the walkway on level 3. From there, we can optionally go to the right into an L-shaped dead end which possibly contains a treasure chest. Back above the ladder, we make our way along the left corner to the left wall. There, we walk up a slope to level 4 until we reach an L-turn. That's the white part of the central walkway where those monodrives were located. We now follow that central walkway through the room until we reach a ladder leading up to the platform on level 6 near the right wall where Jesse is waiting. There's another optional path leading into a dead end. Instead of walking up the stairs, we turn left and run along the walkway to another ladder. Taking that ladder downwards, we reach a platform on level 4. From there, we walk along some more walkways along the corner and a pipe to another platform just above the first optional L-shaped dead end. Now let's go back to Jesse to follow the main route instead and take the stairs to the walkway right above the pipe on level 7, still on the right wall. There, we run along the walkway past the corner to another platform on the back wall, still on level 7, where a ladder leads higher up. That's a place where the Scorpion Sentinel started climbing the wall. There's the same busted horizontal light array with the metal wall plate below. That ladder leads up to the platform on level 9, where the exit is located. It also has a small vertical light bar near the top of the ladder. And if you think that's impressive, I have one more for you. While this whole path I just laid out seems like something completely new, it actually shows many similarities to how the original path was constructed. From the entrance, we climbed down a ladder to a walkway from which we walked down a small flight of stairs to a small platform from which a ladder leads down to a walkway running through the room. We then run down a slope and along another walkway containing an angled corner at the end from which another ladder leads to the ground floor. Sure, it's not exactly the same, but close enough that the directions match pretty good. Anyway, one last detail I'd like to mention are the pipes leading from the walls into the Mako basin. Those exist in both the original and the remake, though the latter contains much more pipes. In general, when comparing the original to the remake, there are much more similarities than immediately visible, and that's exactly how it should be. Staying true to the essence of the original while giving everything a modern spin and creating a new experience while still evoking feelings from the past. And with that, we've reached the end of this first of many E3 content analyses. There is so much more to come, like combat, character and enemy analyses, as well as a theory about the Keepers/Guardians of Fate, so stay tuned for the upcoming episodes of Game Analysis. In the meantime, let us know if there are some details we've missed, and please don't hesitate to speak your mind. Let's have a discussion in the comment section down below. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell button to be immediately notified of future uploads, and don't let yourself stop from sharing this video around. This being said, thank you so much for listening in, and I hope to see you again in the next episode of Game Analysis. And always remember, stay safe and take care. Bisuazat signing off.